Hello guys, welcome to a new video. In this video I want to talk about these three lenses that we've got here that I've been testing out. I've been trying to figure out which is the sharpest lens. Forget about image stabilization for the moment being, and obviously how light they are, whether they're weather sealed, anything like that at the moment. We're looking at pure image quality. So I have the Canon 100-400 Mark II L lens with the 1.4 Mark III extender, the EF version. This is an EF lens. Here we have the RF 600mm mirrorless lens that we're testing out for sharpness as well, and we're putting that up as well against the Sigma Contemporary 150-600. Now, talking about stabilization, as I briefly mentioned it, the two Canon lenses are great at stabilization. In fact, the RF lens is quite a bit better than the Canon EF lens, but both of these two lenses are significantly better in terms of stabilization than the Sigma lens. So for video work, these are the two lenses you want to use. However, for pure image quality, pure sharpness, I'm going to recommend probably the Sigma Contemporary lens. So without further ado, let's have a look at the examples on the computer and see how sharp these lenses are. Hello, welcome to the studio. We're assessing image quality here. So the first image is the Canon 100-400 Mark II L lens, EF lens that is, with the Mark III extender EF mount. So let's just have a look at the sharpness in the centre here at 100% on this duck model that we've got in the garden. And as you can see, it's rendering good detail. It's not tack sharp, but it is giving us good detail. So let's have a look at the Sigma 150-600. It's giving us a slight increase amount of focal length, obviously, because it's not 560mm like that combination was. So we've got 600mm here, and it does seem to be reasonably sharp, rendering good detail. As you can see, all the various parts of the top half here of the carving is quite sharp. Now let's have a look at the RF lens, and this is what shocked me. I did not expect this from a prime lens versus a zoom. So let's just have a look at that. And there you go. You can clearly see it's quite soft. To give you an idea on the settings, we're at ISO 4000 on the EOS R6 20 megapixel camera. Shutter speed ranged from 125th of a second to 160th of a second. 2-second timer on a tripod. There was no optical stabilization on the Sigma lens. I turned that off deliberately, just to give us an idea on sharpness. The other two lenses I had stabilization on because Canon does has some sort of good algorithm that makes it work well with tripods, while Sigma lenses and Tamron lenses don't. So that's the result of the sharpness test for outdoor use. Now I want to have a look at a test chart, because I like to bring test charts to you guys. Like other YouTubers, I like to do a bit of both. So here is the test chart for the 100-400 with the 1.4 extender. This is the Sigma Contemporary 150-600 at 600mm, and this is the RF 600mm. Incidentally, it's important to note that I think the Sigma lens is probably closer to 570 or 580mm, because I had to move the lens a little bit forward to make it equivalent to what the 600 RF lens was. So I think the Canon is probably pretty much a true 600 prime lens, while the Sigma might not quite be 600mm. But saying that, the Canon's pretty much the same. Closer to, instead of being 400mm, it's closer to 370mm. Anyway, let's go back and let's go in the sharpness and see that sharpness detail at 100%. So that's the sharpness that we're getting from the 100-400 with the 1.4 extender. Looks reasonably good, nice and sharp, and is presenting good detail. You can even see some of the detail in the actual paper itself, because I printed this test chart out. So have a look at the Sigma Contemporary 150-600 at 600mm. at 100%. Again, it's rendering good detail. Now let's have a look at the RF 600 lens. Now we were about 4.5 meters away from the test chart in pretty much most instances. So having a look at 100% there, and already you can see there is some softness. Now I will reproduce the test to make sure that there was nothing going off, but I was on a 2-second timer on a tripod and stabilization was on for the Canon lenses but off for the Sigma lens, because that's what Sigma recommend, that you turn the stabilization off, because it has a habit of moving your focus point if you have the stabilization on the Sigma lens, but the other two are fine. As you can see, it's quite soft. In fact, I would pretty much say it's pretty much unsharp. Looking at that image, go back to the Canon. As you can see, nice and sharp. What I did notice is with the extender on, it did sort of get softer in the corners, but we'll see that in a moment. But I just want to show you the Sigma 150 to 600 in comparison, and then the RF 600. Not good at all. Anyway, let's go back to the Canon 100 and let's just go to the corner. So you can see there it's not very sharp in the corner on the Canon with the 1.4. Let's go to the Sigma Contemporary and do the same thing, and as you can see, it's a lot sharper. Looks really good actually. On the RF lens, let's have a look. I suspect it'll get even worse, and it does. So let's just go back to the Canon. This is the left corner that we're looking at, 100 to 400 with the extender. The 150 to 600 Contemporary Sigma lens. The shutter speed was around 80th of a second. And then have a look at the RF 600. Really shocking. I was not expecting this at all. So, you know, to assess, just to see if there is a problem, let's have a look at the top on all three of them. See if sometimes there is slight differences in certain corners. So the 100 to 400 top left corner looks good. Sigma 150 to 600 again looks pretty good to me. Just compare it to the Canon and the Sigma. They seem equally sharp to me. Let's look at the RF lens, and it looks pretty bad really. I'm pretty much shocked by the sharpness here on the RF 600. I'm lost for words to describe how bad I think the sharpness is on the RF lens when you go to 100% at 600mm. Now granted, you're not going to zoom in to 100% like this, but it just shows you that the Sigma lens is so much sharper, and so is the Canon 100 to 400. I hope to bring to you another video at some point comparing the EF 100 to 400 with the RF 100 to 400, and we'll find out how sharp it is compared to the 100 to 400. A lot of people are comparing those two lenses to each other, even though one's vastly more expensive than the cheap RF lens. But this is the result that I've found in terms of the sharpness test. You know, please leave some comments in the comments box, please. Let me know your thoughts. What are you thinking about the sharpness? I honestly don't think this is camera shake, guys. Remember, the shutter speed is at 80th of a second, 2-second timer on a tripod with stabilization on the Canon lenses, but without stabilization on the Sigma lens, because it's recommended you don't have stabilization on. When it comes to video, don't get me wrong, the RF lens is fantastic. It's nice and light, and its stabilization is the best of the lot. However, when it comes to sharpness, the Sigma just beats the RF lens hands down. So there you go. So again, this is the center sharpness of the 100 to 400 Mark II L. This is the sharpness of the Sigma 150 to 600, and this is the sharpness of the RF lens. And you know, if you're really curious, I'll have a look in the top right corner for you guys. Zoom out in all three so you can have a look and see all four corners, just to give you a good idea on sharpness. So this is the top right corner in the Canon. That's the 150 to 6. Sorry, the Canon 100 to 400. That's the Sigma Contemporary, and that's the RF 600. Let's just go down to the bottom. Now you've had a quick look at that, so you can see that it's not very sharp, is it? Let's go down to the bottom corner. Again, do the same for the Sigma Contemporary, and do the same again for the Canon with the 1.4 extender on. So that's the 1.4 extender. As you can see, it's fairly decently sharp. I wouldn't say it's as sharp as the Sigma though, in the corners in particular. Make up your own mind. I think they're either fairly even, or there might be some slight differences. To be honest with you, if I was to say, the Sigma is probably sharp in the center, but you know, it's make your own mind up, guys. And here is the RF at the bottom right corner. So I just wanted to say a big thank you for watching, and I hope this helped you out in terms of looking at sharpness regarding these three lenses. So in conclusion, guys, you've obviously seen the examples I've shown you which put these three lenses up against each other, and what I'm finding is the softest lens of all, and I was surprised of this, is the RF 600mm mirrorless lens. It is significantly softer than the other two lenses. The Canon lens with the 1.4 extender is matching up in terms of center sharpness with the Sigma Contemporary. However, when you start looking in the corners, the Sigma Contemporary is superior. It's actually sharper, and we've seen that in the examples. You know, the test charts clearly show that. So this is a surprise for me, you know, to tell you that for video work, there's no doubt the RF lens is the best lens of all. The stabilization is smoother and is better than the EF lens, for definite. I don't really think the stabilization on the Sigma lens is that great, because you get some of that jittery, you know, when you have the stabilization on. For photographs, it's the best lens out of the three. However, for video work, I'm going to have to recommend probably either the Canon EF 100 to 400 Mark II with the obviously the 1.4 extender, or the RF lens for that. But I was very, very surprised, guys, that in my conclusion that I just think the RF lens is softer than both of these two lenses. So I can't really suggest anyone go out and buy the RF 600mm. I think there's an argument to buy the 800, but the RF 600 I probably won't want to buy when you compare it to the Sigma Contemporary. You know, Sigma Contemporary, yes, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, and if they bring out an RF version of this lens, it's going to be even better. But I am really surprised at the results in this video, that the RF 600mm lens, in terms of image quality in photographs, does not hold up to the 100 to 400 with a 1.4 extender, or the Sigma Contemporary 150 to 600. So that's my conclusion in this video. I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone that's watched this video. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, I would really appreciate it. It's a bit of a pat on the back for me, just to say thank you for making this video for you guys to see the results. I've got a few more examples that I'll put up now of me going out in the field with the 100 to 400 Mark II L lens with the 1.4 extender and the RF lens. You know, have a look at those examples and make your own mind up which you think is better. But I'm surprised here. The sharpness test that we've done clearly identifies that the Sigma is better. The Canon isn't that far behind, apart from in the corners. But I suspect when you take the extender off, the sharpness in the corners gets a lot better. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Have a lovely new year. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye. Hello everyone. Welcome to a new video. In this video, we're going to be comparing these two lenses, the Canon EF 100-400 with the 1.4 EF extender and the RF 600. I just want to test image quality and see are they as good as each other. So let's have a look at the examples.